God, that's the biggest bee I've seen in ages, that thing. It's like a bloody Messerschmitt. Morning, boys and girls. It's early on a Saturday morning. I'm out for my morning walk as usual, walking around the Nottinghamshire countryside. And I've been trying to get out for a couple of hours. And I was going to bring the other camera because that's got a better microphone and a better lens and things like that. But my son is still racked out, fast asleep. And for some reason, my dead cat, which is the wind muffler, is in his bedroom. I have no idea why. Lord knows what he's doing with it, you know. So I can't get that. So I'm back with the GoPro. So let's hope it's able to sort out the problems I've had with the wind noise and things. So anyway, I'm wishing you all the very best for the weekend and the week to come. I hope you're feeling fit, happy and healthy. Any new people dropping by the channel, my name's Dave. I'm just a regular guy who gets up and goes to work every day, and I'm just charting my progression in some of my thoughts whilst being on the carnivore diet. Personally, I think it's a great lifestyle to be on. I feel very nutritionally optimized. I feel mentally really good, no depression, I'm sleeping great. You know, it's the best I've felt in decades, and whilst it won't appeal to everyone, it's certainly worth having a try. I've got no bias against other people's diets and things. I just concentrate on what my diet is and what works for me. So I don't do any vegan bashing or anything like that. It's just not my thing. But anyway, let's get back on track. I'd been asked the other day, does intermittent fasting and OMAD work for everybody? And when you look at the studies and, you know, all the anecdotal reports, it does largely work for everybody. But I would say to different degrees. So, as we know, we're all individuals, we all work in a similar way, but to different levels. You know, some people can lose body fat like it's just melts off them. Other people, like myself, it takes a lot of getting rid of. It's very slow to come off my body. And we all have different metabolic rates. We all need different amounts of protein. We need different amounts of fat. We're all individuals. So it does stand to reason that whilst intermittent fasting and OMAD might work amazingly for, say, myself, it might not work the same for the person who lives next door, or, you know, your friend or your cousin's monkey's uncle kind of thing. They all will react differently. Now, one of the reasons I think this possibly could be happening is because when you're doing OMAD and you need your full amount of nutrients per day, and if you believe in calories in, calories out, you need your calories per day. If you're compressing all your eating within, say, a 1 to 2 hour eating window, so you're consuming up, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 calories in that short amount of time, not everyone's going to be able to digest it, assimilate it, absorb it, put all those macronutrients to good use. There is going to be certain people who just can't deal with that amount of food. And it's not because you can't put it in your mouth and swallow it into your stomach. I think it's a case of, like, you know, once it's in your gut, you know, and it's churning around, the whole peristaltic action and things, and gets into your intestines, I think there's just a limit of what people can actually, you know, do something with all that food. And whilst we know that fat doesn't spike your insulin, or if it does, it's so marginal that, you know, it just doesn't register. Protein potentially could. I mean, I know years ago a lot of the videos and reports used to say if you eat too much protein on keto, it throws you out of ketosis and stuff. I think that's potentially possible, again, depending on your individuality. Some people it doesn't, some people it does. From what I've read and what I've researched, if your blood glucose level is really low and, say, normal levels, eating excess protein doesn't really cause you any insulin spikes. If your glucose is high, then excess protein could raise your insulin levels and then start the whole fat storage process going on. So if you're one of those people where, you know, maybe your metabolism is a little bit lower, or you're struggling to absorb all this nutrients, what do you do? And the only thing I can suggest is, instead of doing one meal a day, try the standard intermittent fasting, or a standard time restricted eating protocol where you have 16 hours of fasting and then an 8-hour eating window, and consume all your calories broken up into multiple small meals as it's convenient to you. So for example, I need 125 grams of protein and I allow myself 125 grams of fat, and on that level I perform really well. I can work 12 hours of hard graft every day, plus do an hour's worth of quite vigorous exercise, and I sleep brilliantly and I get great results. So if we use that as an example, 125 protein, 125 fat, if you was doing that in an 8-hour eating window, then you could break that up technically into 4 small meals. Just make every macronutrient a quarter of what you're allowed that day, and just give yourself chance to actually digest it, absorb it, and partition it off as you need it, kind of thing. I know it takes hours and hours for obviously your body to break all these nutrients down and it distribute them where necessary, but it's giving you a chance to actually eat the product, absorb it, and not spike your insulin level as high as maybe it would do if you had the full amount of macronutrients in one meal or within an hour or two. Just giving your body a chance to just keep levels as low as possible. And as we know, the lower your insulin levels, the better your chances of fat loss are going to be. Is that a proven thing? You know, having these multiple meals and stuff? I've no idea. It's not the same as the whole idea of eating 6 meals a day from years ago, because that was high carb, low fat, moderate protein, and that's pretty much the protocol, which put a lot of fat on people. Really did cause a bit of an explosion of, you know, excess weight gain and things like that. So if you did break your macros up into 4 bite-sized meals, it's not the same, because it's high fat, it's relatively high protein, moderate to high, so it's not going to be the same, is it really? And who knows, it might work for you. If you don't try it, you don't know. I work quite well on 1 meal a day, but I'm quite prepared to try 4 micro meals in an 8-hour, you know, feeding window, just to try it out. You know, I think the thing we have got to bear in mind is we are individuals. Our bodies can be incredibly fickle. They can be very complicated, and they can also adapt and overcome to what we're doing. Because the amount of times I've read about or watched a channel where someone started off doing 1 meal a day, and they'll drop a load of body fat and they're feeling amazing, and then all of a sudden after like 3, 4, 5 months, the body's just adapted. It's no different to if they'd been eating, you know, 5 meals a day or 6 meals a day. They just kind of maintain. So I think it's a bit like exercise. If you do the same thing every single day, every week and every month, it ceases to be as effective. Your body just learns to be more economic with what it's doing. So this is why I tend to change my eating routine every 3 weeks. You know, I started off doing, you know, 3 small meals a day. Then I went to intermittent fasting for quite a few weeks. And then I tried 1 meal a day. And then I tried 1 meal a day where I was eating in the morning instead of evening. I've tried a couple of water fasts, and I've tried a couple of fat fasts. And both of those have been very successful. So this is my next little bit of an experiment, having 4 small meals in an 8-hour window. Who knows, you know, it's worth giving it a try. Well, the wind has picked up and it looks like rain is on the horizon, so I'm going to make my steady retreat back to my house, get out of the wind, get out of the potentially, you know, the forthcoming storm, and go and make my son some breakfast.